one of the things that really bothered me was that I could not get a yes. It was always, no, you have to do this, no, you have to do that. The people who come in are some of the best creatives that I've ever worked with. They are copy specialists, they are designers, they are engagement specialists, meaning that they know how to talk to people online, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, or what have you. A lot of times, what I found, like feedback when people leave, is that I was their first yes, because a lot of the resumes that came through, maybe, or even the copy or the writing examples or the design examples weren't really maybe on par with what I was looking for, but I saw the potential in where they said that they were going, and I knew I had a method that I could teach them so that they can take it with them.
What's going on, everybody? This is Abby here with another episode of Modern Day Unicorns, and today I have Kenda with me. Kenda and I met at an intensive by our mutual friend, and she does some amazing work. So I'm happy that she jumped on the opportunity to join us for the call today, and I'm excited to get to know more about what she does. Kenda, welcome. Please tell us about yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So my name is Kenda Elise Fields. I am a writer and creative entrepreneur. For the last 5 years, I have run a communications agency, and we actually service mission-driven businesses. I noticed that a lot of the work that I do has to do with people who created a business out of a need. And I found that, like, if you create something out of a need, there's like a really strong connection to the work that you do. And I really align with that. So yeah, that's what I do.
Ooh, I appreciate that. We're going to get into that a little bit more in a moment, just digging into your passion and the business that you do. Can you tell us where you're from, maybe what your background is, things like that?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in the Washington, D.C. area, Tacoma Park, Maryland, to be exact. I did not live in D.C. until I was in high school. I know some people will be like, yeah, I'm from D.C. You're not from D.C. You're from the suburbs, and that's okay. So am I. But I was born and raised in D.C. I went to school in Alabama, and I've kind of been in the South since then. So now home is Richmond, Virginia. And my background started in communications, and it has continued to be in communications, but in a weird way, in terms of I went to school for that, and then I had to go to the adult evening program at the school that I went to because of some circumstances. I got pregnant in high school, or in college, and so I went to adult evening program, and then I learned business. And when I originally got into that, I was just like, why am I here? Like, business is not what I want to do. And then it's just so funny how it came around where I was able to merge business and communications. And so dreams that are deferred, they still happen.
That's amazing. I love your perspective on that everything definitely happens for a reason. And Absolutely. Even in spite of the things that happen, there's still, where there's a will, there's a way.
Absolutely.
And so that's great. So with your communications and business background, what are some of the things that you were doing at first? Because I believe you're working for yourself now.
Right.
But what was it when you finally accomplished those particular things? How did you navigate your career in the beginning?
Yeah, so at first I didn't know what to do. The reason why I went to school for communications was for broadcast journalism. And so I went for that. And then when I had to go into business, it was like, okay, well, what do you do after that? So it was a lot of call center work, a lot of waitressing, a lot of really things that are important, and we now know as essential work. You need to be able to call your Verizon to figure out what's going on with your phone bill. You need to eat. So, but at the time, I thought of them as things that were like, well, how am I going to get to my end goal, which is communicating, which is speaking, which is connecting with people. And so I had the opportunity in 2015 to start working from home. My daughter actually had dyslexia, or I thought she had dyslexia at the time. And so I took her out of school and put her into homeschool. And obviously, when you do that, you need to be able to still generate income. So I just started looking for work from home jobs. And at first it was like kind of like call center type things. And then I stumbled across engagement or moderation. And moderation, like chat rooms back in the day, like with AOL, they used to have like forums and all of that. So the agency was built on that, and they taught me how to engage like on Twitter and on Instagram and like connect with people. And that's how I got into the work that I got into, through just like working from home, trying to just find a job, and then finding something that was not exactly broadcast journalism, but it moved into that field of communication. I was able to share my voice and share, to like kind of be a representation of a brand, and I loved it. And so from there, it moved me into working for myself because I really wanted to move up in the company, and there was a lot of nepotism at the place that I was working. And so unless you knew someone or you had someone who was like a father or someone that was a higher up, it was very difficult to run your own account. And so I spoke to my mentor at the time, and she was just like, well, why don't you just go get an internship? If you get an internship, maybe you can show them that you can run your own account. And I did. And I got an internship with a really well-known wellness influencer, and things just took off from there. I didn't know what I was doing, but I am really good at connecting with people and like understanding people and understanding like their motivations just by asking a few questions. And I think that came from that broadcast journalism background, even though I didn't really actually get to use it at the time. I was able to use it in those situations, and it really informed how I worked with people, and it took up from there.
You said so many gems just then that I'm just like, oh, picking it all up. And I think one of the things that resonates with me the most is that along your journey, you've been able to recall some of those skills that you were taught in the very beginning and be able to, implement it into your business today.
Yeah.
So let's go to the point where, you were really enjoying the work that you were doing for the job that you had. Mm-hmm. You had no room to grow, unfortunately. So what was that pivotal moment to where, along with the help of your mentor, which I appreciate as well, how did you build up the courage, and how did you decide to be like, you know what? Let me backtrack a little bit to the fact that you had a job and then you went to get an internship. And I had a guest just prior to you, actually I just released this episode, and I told them, I said, tell them what internship means.
Yeah. Internship means free work, but it's on the ground. Like because an intern, the term intern is so broad because it depends on the brand and what they need from you, but they basically need a lot of the things that they don't want to do so that they can go and create. And so I really had to learn really fast how to do a lot of things. At first I was just going to be coming in just to write. And then it actually, I had a partner in the internship who was going to do designing, and she actually dropped out because she was like, I'm just doing all this for free. And for me, it was just like, hey, this is my second chance to really create something amazing. So I'm going to give it my all, even though I'm tired, even though I have this job, I'm a mom, I have all these things going on. I know that there's something special here and I'm learning so much. So let me just stay in here and see what happens. So that is, that's what an internship is to me. It's the thing that the brand doesn't really want to do, but knows that it needs to be done, and they give it to you and you do it for free.
And I don't think that's necessarily encouraged as much as it should be in these days. Granted, I'm all for a paycheck. Do not get me wrong.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. But when it comes to building the skills necessary to get things done, it is, for me, it's more the willingness to learn for free than the actual labor for free.
Right.
So when you say, when you're saying, oh yeah, I'm doing this for free, but you'd be like, no, I'm getting access to all these accounts,
exactly,
to all these people, to all these resources.
Exactly.
It's the richness that you find in the experience, and not necessarily the lack of funds. And some internships are paid, but some are not. When you go, I'm not telling anybody to go and just work for free, but if the value was there and you're going to come out of the situation better, go for it.
Yeah.
Now, when you decided to give it all you had, so let's say, I'm not sure, we'll say you finished your internship, right? When did you say, okay, I've gathered enough information to now do this on my own, and what were the steps that you took to make that leap?
Yeah, so it actually happened pretty fast. I like to say that God gave me success really early on because of the type of person I am. I need to know that something works. If it doesn't work, I'm out. It's something where I need to know I have to have something strong there. And what actually happened, I think it was maybe 3 or 4 months into the internship, we started out at 436. I know the exact numbers. We started at 436 followers, and by the time 6 months in, we were already at 10K. And that is like, now that was back in the day. That was back in the day. We know how like that, how the algorithm works, and there's just there's a lot of nuanced things that go on on Instagram that make it so that may not be possible now. But at the time, with the skills that I had, that's what I was able to do. And the person that I was working for, because she had such a big platform, she told her friends. So she told her influencer friends. Her influencer friends hired me, and then all of a sudden I had a business. And I don't even know that I actually made a decision to go all in until probably 2 years into it, because for a while I was still seeing it as just a thing I was doing on the side. I didn't really see it as a business. I wasn't operating as a business. I was Googling stuff to figure out, like, what do I do? People would ask me, I'll never forget, someone was like, do you do ROI reports? And I was like, yes, I do. And then I had to like Google it afterwards and be like, what is the ROI report? And so I tell people I've used like every single social media management platform like possible, because I was trying to figure out like what works and what didn't. So when I finally gave my all, I think that was when I hired my first person to help me, because I knew that it was like overwhelming. And that's when I was like, wait, this is a business. This is the agency. And so you need to start like kind of acting like that. And it's not just like a side hustle or like a gig. This is a real thing that can make you real money. It has made you real money. So like, it's time to like go a little bit a step further, which is me getting like a website. I had like a landing page. It was like, work with me. And that was it. So like getting a website, talking to people about what I did instead of just sitting in the corner. That's when I decided to go in.
You said something key, which is something that our people do so often, that we don't value our talents. And we keep seeing things as side hustles and making a little piece of money here and there. And we don't validate ourselves with being able to say, oh, yeah, I am a business owner, or yeah, I'm an entrepreneur, and things of that nature. So when you said I am Captain Side Hustle, I've done everything from braiding hair to photography, videography, and the course that we took, like that, that took a lot of work for both of us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To be able to be like, to claim the authority that we have and the skills that we've attained over the years, to be able to get compensated properly for it. So big ups to you on that.
Yeah, thank you. I'm blessed. I always say I didn't have a path, but I kind of made one. Because, when you go to business school, or if you go, through a program, you have like a clear path forward. And it was just like so many zigzags. Like even now, I'm still kind of, because I did not go all in until year 2, there's still things foundationally that I'm working on now going into year 5 that I had to like kind of double back and look at. So, yeah.
So we kind of covered it a little bit when in terms of you saying, okay, great, this is a business, and you overcoming the fear of saying, oh yeah, like, and tell me about what, when you were talking about how things were overwhelming and you decided to hire that additional person, right?
Yeah.
How did you feel doing that, to be just like, okay, like, all right, I need extra. I know I'm a bit of a control freak. And so getting somebody else on my team is going to be a challenge for me. But what was that like, being like, what was the process you went through to look for somebody else to help you do the work that you do so well?
Yeah, so one of the things about me is I'm really big on like alignment, and I'm also really big, like I believe that whoever I work with, and this is like early on, that whoever I work with really needs to have like some type of passion for what they're doing. Like I need to see like a clear alignment with where they want to go with what I'm asking them to do, because I never want to be the type of person to hinder someone from who they're supposed to be. So if you are coming to work for me and you know that you want to be an oceanographer. I don't even know if that's a word. I think it is. But if you wanted to be an oceanographer, if you wanted to be an oceanographer, and we're talking about engagement, you would need to tell me how what your goals are, how that aligns with what we're doing. And so if there's no clear path for you to like understand fish better or like water temperatures for what we're doing, I don't want to be that hindrance because I have a lot of stuff for you to do. Like my day is very long. There's a lot of attention to detail that happens. We're service based, so we're dealing with clients on a day-to-day basis. So if you'd rather be by the sea instead of actually like, in front of a computer doing what we need to do, it's probably not going to be best fit. So I think that also kind of goes with like me understanding people a little bit more than most. I'm just a very great observer, even in virtual situations. And so that's pretty much has been my kind of my guide is, does this align with where this person is going? Because I know you're not going to be here forever. And so what can you take from what you're doing with me now that you can take with you into that larger goal that you have?
Well, that's awesome. That sounds familiar to a friend from high school. He worked for Tom Ferry. And Tom Ferry from the beginning was like, come in here and do your job, but when it's time to go, then you need to leave. And I don't feel like we are, we have that type of permission, if you will, when it comes to these, when we get these good jobs, a lot of times, coming from the past, our parents just want us to get that good government job and just stick with it. And even when we do get into those places, like we're so thankful, if you will, to have that position that we're scared to do something different.
Yeah.
And fear that, we won't be able to progress, or that if we want to leave, we won't seem grateful enough. And, how can I leave, or how can I inconvenience people? I know I've had that type of fear in leaving places, to be just like, I didn't feel like I had the freedom to be just like, thank you.
Yeah.
I need a new challenger. Thank you. Like,
right.
I have interest in something else. And so I'm really grateful that you have that as a foundation to say, if we don't align from the beginning, if what you're going to do with me won't put you in a better place when, your time is up with me, then let's not waste each other's time.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
So I am interested in knowing more about your business. Can you tell us like your business name and what you do offer? What are some of your services and things that you offer your clients?
Yeah. So the name of my company or agency is Kef Co. And it's funny because recently there was never a co when I came up with that name, but I always knew that I was going to be like connecting with people. And so I needed like a team. And now going into year 5, I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. This is a real agency now. But anyways, so our agency, we're a creative communications agency. And what we do is we do foundational work. So a lot of times people know why they created a business. Again, a lot of the businesses that we work with are mission-driven businesses who created something out of a need. So like think like skincare products. A mother has a son with eczema, so she creates a cream, and then she's like, hey, now I have like the relief, and my son has the relief because of these ointments that I'm using. Let me go ahead and share those with other people. But sometimes the problem is with really small businesses or artisanal or small businesses is that they don't know how to like reach their customers outside of like trade shows and the farmers markets and things like that. So where we come in is we identify like the customer bases that they have, and then help them create their tone of voice so that they'll know how to reach those customers. I always say that it really doesn't matter. A lot of people get into business and they're like wanting to give to everyone, but there's something unique in everyone's founder story that connects them and allows them to identify their ideal client. And that ideal client is actually usually the people that they made it for, which is themselves. And so if they can find a clear path to those people, then it really helps with the selling process, and it feels less, I guess icky is the word that I hear a lot of people say, like, it's just, I don't want to sell. This is something I want to share with people. And it's just like, you could do both. And with our method that we use, you're able to do that. So we do, the foundational work with the tone and voice, and then also email management, social media management, and there's one more that I always forget, and I should not forget it because it's very important. But anything communication related that you can think that a business would need, we cover.
I remember you said that you do like copy. And that's one thing that after you said that, I went and I was like, what the heck is copy?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm a writer by heart, so like that's my main role is just like, how can we use words to make sure that your customers know exactly why they're connecting with you. Like you'll scroll through Instagram and you'll be like, that's a nice product, but it's not really for me. It doesn't really fit. But there's someone who will see it and be like, oh my goodness, I've been looking for this my whole life. We want to give that reaction to all of our brands, and doing that by pinpointing exactly who you're talking to instead of everyone really helps you do that.
Now, you said you've been in business for 5 years already. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How many people do you have on your team to date?
So now we have 13. We have copy specialists. Now, they're all contractors. So they're all contractors. But one of the things, let's go back to when I told you, like when I started working for the agency that I worked for, one of the things that really bothered me was that I could not get a yes. It was always, no, you have to do this, no, you have to do that. The people who come in are some of the best creatives that I've ever worked with. They are copy specialists, they are designers, they are engagement specialists, meaning that they know how to talk to people online, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, or what have you. A lot of times what I found, like feedback when people leave, is that I was their first yes, because a lot of the resumes that came through, maybe, or even the copy or the writing examples or the design examples weren't really maybe on par with what I was looking for, but I saw the potential in where they said that they were going, and I knew I had a method that I could teach them so that they can take it with them. So I kind of think of the agency as kind of like a teaching agency more than anything. How they have like teaching hospitals? It's the same thing. One of my specialists, she's a copy specialist, and her first job was with me, and now she works for like a New York Times bestselling author, second job. And it's just like, if you have a portfolio, if you come and work for me, you're going to have a portfolio that you can take with you, and I'll be your first yes. When those people call and they ask for a referral, I'm getting on the phone, giving you those accolades, letting you know, because I know what you did for me, what you did for our clients, and I know what you'll be able to do as you move forward. So we're an agency that says yes to creatives.
Oh man, thank you out there in reference to all of the creators. We thank you so much for offering those opportunities to other people to get their feet wet, and to it is very difficult to get justice, and that's why we get people making things up out here, but without the validation. I myself, I reached out to a number of different people, just like, I just need to know if I'm doing this right. I need to know, not even just doing it right, am I heading in the right direction, am I getting better, am I growing? Right. And so for you to offer that to other people is amazing. As we transition, I want to, you've dropped so many precious gems already, but I always like to solidify them and have them, wrap them up in those 3 special tips. Given the experience that you have, what tips would you give to anyone looking to be in either a similar position as you, or looking to start their own thing, or looking to continue, or looking for that first yes? What would you tell them?
Okay, so I would say don't underestimate. We already talked about this. Don't underestimate the power of internship, the power of learning something new. It's challenging to learn something that you may not be the best at, or you don't have like a strong foundation in, but internships allow you to really get your hands dirty and like really get in on the ground floor of whatever industry you're in. I don't even know what internships look like these days, but if you can find one in your industry, or even if it's not in your industry, even if it's an industry that you want to go into, like the worst that you can do is say this isn't for me, and then you wouldn't have lost anything except time. And even with the time, there's always a lesson in everything. So even if you feel like something is wasted, it usually isn't. I think about like my time at Verizon, and I hated working in the call center, but like if you look at the structure of the agency in terms of like having those one-on-one meetings that we have with the specialists, or just like the structure, giving them ample time to like decompress from their job when they're talking to different people online. Those are things that I learned at the corporate level, and those are the same things that you can learn if you're at an internship, if you're willing to be open. So I would say that don't underestimate the power of the internships, and we do offer internships, by the way. Second, your gifts will make room for you. Like that is, I have to put that someplace because it's the thing that keeps on coming back to me over and over and over again. Even talking to you today on this podcast, my background is in broadcast journalism. I was on the radio for 5 years back in college, and it was something that I always wanted to do. And now the opportunity to be able to use my voice in a way that I know can impact someone, even if it's just you, Abby, even though I know you have a strong following, so I know that's not going to be the case, but like it really helps me to connect, with a dream that I have. So just know that your dreams can make room for you, even if they look different. Podcasts were not a thing when I was in college 15 years ago. And now, you can create one. You can get on Riverside. You can get wherever you need to go and like share your voice. So your gifts can make room for you. It may look a little bit different, but you can absolutely move through and create your own path. And then 3, when you are invited into the room, know that you are there for a reason. I can remember times when I first started out where I would just be like, oh my goodness, I follow her on Instagram. I'm in the room with it. Oh my God, we're in the car together. Oh my God, like so many times where I'm just like sitting here, I'm breaking bread with these people that I admire, that I look up to. And it's just like, and I would get small and I would shrink and I'd be like, oh, because I'm not like them. And it's just like, well, you're in some capacity, you are like them if you're right here sitting next to them. Like there's something there. So, don't get psyched out when you're in, these rooms, when you're invited in these rooms. You're supposed to be there and you'll figure it out. It may not be in the moment when you're in the room, but at some point you're going to realize why you were supposed to be there. So I would say those were my 3 things.
I'm going to have to play that back for myself. That was good.
Yeah.
So Kenda, just thank you so much for everything that you've shared thus far. I want to definitely give you the opportunity to share all the places and spaces that people can follow and support you, or even, inquire of your services. Please share that information with us.
Yeah, so you can find me at Kenda Elise Fields on Instagram. That's Kendra without the R. So Kenda Elise Fields on Instagram. And then I actually have something that's coming up soon. It's actually a morning show, and it's for people who love music, who love to start their mornings right. And so you can follow us there at risingjoy.am on Instagram. And it'll be releasing soon. So those are the 2 places you can find me. Oh, and my website, of course, kefco.com.
Awesome. I will put all of that information in the show notes as well. Kenda, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you so much. I look forward to all the awesome things you're going to continue to do. Now, as for our listeners and viewers, thank you once again for joining us for another episode. I encourage you to please follow Kenda and look at her journey and be inspired by the things that she has. And if you are a unicorn or you know somebody that is, I'd love to continue to have a conversation with them. So please feel free to drop me a message or leave a comment. And until next time, we'll see you.